As China enters the opening stage of its 15th five-year plan, Chongqing is accelerating its role as a key hub for Western development and inland opening up. For foreign businesses looking to work with Chongqing, how do they view the city's growing trade links, industry opportunities, and business environment? Breaking News spoke with Peter Burnett, Chief Executive of the China-Britain Business Council, to offer an international perspective on the city's new opening up opportunities.
I've been very lucky.
Okay. So the UK is the guest country of honor at this year's fair, bringing a large business delegation to Chongqing. So what message do you think this sends to?
Yeah, I think it sends a message of support, basically, and I think also the level of interest that we've had demonstrate that Chongqing offers, and Western China in particular, offers a new and developing market for a lot of these businesses. If you think about how most international companies have engaged in China, they've really started along the East Coast, so in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Shenzhen, in Guangzhou, of course in Hong Kong. But now increasingly you see the development that's taking place inland, and in particular in Western China. And I think companies and chief executives have begun to understand that this represents a great opportunity for them. There's a great deal of technology investment that is happening here. There's a huge amount of agricultural produce that is being produced here. You've got car automation, battery manufacture, so retail as well, because as the population becomes more prosperous, so they want to go out and buy more stuff. I think what you need to do is to come, as we have done through the Western China Fair, come to Chongqing, come to Chengdu and Xi'an and all of these places and understand the opportunity.
For Burnett, Western China's appeal lies not only in its growth potential, but also in its expanding industrial base. When discussing China-UK cooperation, he pointed to the complementary strength of both sides. If China-UK industrial cooperation is like a jigsaw puzzle, and what unique piece each other will bring on the table?
So I think China brings efficiency, value for money, and it brings the extraordinary industry of its people. And I think the UK brings a capability in research and development, and a capability also in services, which you put together, and you have great cooperation potential. If you look at the 15th five-year plan and the UK Modern Industrial Strategy, a focus on services, a focus on advanced manufacturing, a focus on technology and technological development, and also on the creative industries. So you put all of that together and you've got the potential for great cooperation and great collaboration. It shows you the technological prowess and the investment that has been made in the UK in some pretty important areas. Food and agricultural production is incredibly important, and if you can produce more food with less labor and more technological invention, then that's going to be very, very welcome. And then you think of cars, some of the innovation that's been made in cars is happening here in China, particularly in battery technology and storage technology. But when it comes to design, many of the Formula One cars that compete around the world are designed and developed in the United Kingdom. If you can bring that together with some of the capabilities in China, you've got great scope for collaboration.
Beyond manufacturing and technological innovation, finance was another key theme of the interview. As Chengdu and Chongqing work to build a Western financial center, Burnett said financial services will be essential to supporting industry and trade.
If you're going to develop, if you're going to see advancement in an economy, if you want to see prosperity, then you're going to need finance, you're going to need banks, you're going to need capital markets. And I think Chengdu and Chongqing are very well positioned to do that. I'm very pleased to say that the two big British banks that operate here have branches in both Chengdu and Chongqing, HSBC and Standard Chartered Bank. And I think they're very involved in developing financial products for that economic development. If you're going to start exporting using those logistics capabilities, then again, you're going to need to be able to finance that. So you're going to have trade finance, transaction banking, but as well, you're going to have the ability to invest in projects so that projects can flourish. So you need some element of long-term project financing and risk management. As you reach out to connect to those parts of the world, you're going to need to have an ability to finance and to think cross-border.
From British companies entering Western China to Chinese companies expanding overseas, Burnett said the market roles of both sides are changing. Chinese firms are moving beyond exports and looking for deeper local engagement in overseas markets. Chinese companies are thinking differently about going global. They are not just for the sales channels or R&D centers and shared market networks in the UK. So what does this tell you?
What we're beginning to see now is Chinese companies looking not just to sell a product that they produced here in China, but looking to develop R&D capabilities. And I think the next phase will be to set up manufacturing and assembly capability. That's how international businesses succeeded in China. They didn't see China just as a destination for products that they produced in Europe or further afield, but they also saw it as a great place for innovation and creativity, and a place where you could actually manufacture, employ people, contribute to the community. China wants to develop its Go Global strategy. It's going to have to do much more of that. So I think many foreign companies look at China and think, they're a place where we can come, set up an assembly and manufacturing capability, and just do what we do in Europe cheaper. And that is completely wrong. Today, I think something like 30% of international companies are actually exporting capability from China. So they've invented a product, or they've invented a new way of manufacturing in China with the creativity of the and they're now taking that overseas from China. And if you think you're just going to come to China to build your produce or your products more cheaply, then you've got that wrong. Particularly in this difficult time, I think there are lots of areas of overlap and complementarity, and we should focus on those, build on those, and create more prosperity and more economic opportunity for our two nations.